Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Apollo Mallow, and today I will be bringing you my review of Outriders. So if you've watched any of my videos or streams before, you know I'm a pretty big looter shooter fan, so I feel like I actually got some pretty valid thoughts on this one. So let's get into it. So we're going to split this up into two parts: the story campaign, how that plays, and the end game. So, stories up first. The game opens up, you're brought out of cryo sleep, and you're sent down to a new planet. You're something called an Outrider, which is basically like a sort of scout kind of for this new planet called Enoch. Obviously, things go wrong, and we'll get put into a cryo sleep again for I think it's another 30 years, and eventually we're woke up and brought back to Rift Town. From there, we're sort of going on a quest to find a signal that might shed some light on sort of what happened with the anomaly, which is sort of kind of like the Traveller from Destiny in a way. And yeah, it's just sort of a quest to find that. So we'll not go into any super major story spoilers or anything here, just some very light stuff. So I thought the premise was actually pretty interesting. Sort of coming down and finding a new planet, everything pretty cool. But it slowly just devolves into just chasing things round. So the best way to put it is the opening hour or two pretty interesting. The whole middle of the game I thought was honestly kind of boring story wise. But towards the end it picks back up quite substantially, and I was actually pretty interested. Obviously I'm not going to what happens, but the last sort of 2 hours get quite interesting. But overall, if the game was just the campaign, I probably wouldn't recommend it. But we've got the end game to talk about. But before we get to the end game, we need to talk about some of the pretty much major problems with the game. So you've probably heard by now that Outriders is always online, despite not being a live service. And this has caused many problems so far. So the first few nights, I was trying to play the game for pretty much all night, and I only got in about 2 hours of game time, and I was sitting here probably for about a total of about 9 hours, just sitting here trying to play, constantly getting kicked out, servers being knocked down. It's sort of straightened out a little bit now. However, I did disconnect in an expedition last night, which wasn't fun. Expeditions are endgame content. So that wasn't fun because I didn't get any loot after about 10 minutes of just shooting things. Yeah, I don't see a need for the game to be always online. It could be for anti-cheat, but there's no PvP, and there's not really any competitive PvE. There's no real like leaderboards or anything. So I don't care if people want to cheat. It doesn't really affect my game. If they join my game with hacked weapons, I'll just kick them from my lobby. But yeah, the server's terrible. It also could be impacting the game's performance. A lot of times in the past, when games have had like an always online DRM requirement, it's affected the performance of the game, and Outriders does not run very well. I've got a pretty decent PC. It meets the recommended specs, and I'm constantly having frame drops, constantly getting all sorts of stuttering. I'm only running on. Am I running on medium or am I running on ultra? I can't remember now. I might have turned it back down to medium. I am running on ultra, but I'm using what's it called? DLSS. Because I found that improved my performance a little bit, but I've got myself locked at 60 FPS. My monitor doesn't go any higher anyway. So if you're a stickler for game performance, this game's not going to be for you because it doesn't run great. It does feel like it's improved in the last few days. I've had less crashes as well, less frame jumps, but overall it's not very well optimized at all. It feels like it needed a bit longer in the oven. On console, I've heard these problems are nowhere near as bad. Still some crashes, but the performance issues aren't anywhere near as severe. So that's definitely my biggest gripe with the game: the performance and the always online servers. It really drags the rest of the experience down. I know I haven't given it a glowing review so far, because the campaign wasn't great, but we're about to get into the positives. Expeditions are Outriders endgame content. They're essentially strikes from Destiny, with timers. The faster you do it, the better rewards you get. They go through challenge tiers 1 to 15. Obviously 15 being the highest, where you where you're aiming to get, basically. I haven't got to 15 on any of my characters yet. I'm stuck at, I think, 14 on my Technomancer. It might be 13. But once you get up there, you start needing really refined builds to be able to do it. But yeah, let's show off some gameplay so we see those cool abilities we're talking about. So I'm playing an ability build here. The game is really loud. I'm playing on a little bit of a lower difficulty just because I'm talking whilst I'm playing. So I think there's 15 different expeditions. There's a good amount. Might not have the exact number correct, but there's a good variety between the different types of enemies. There's some like human enemies, there's some alien type enemies, there's some of these monster beast type enemies. A few of the expeditions have bosses, a few of them just have loads of sort of ads you've got to defeat at the end. And they do a pretty good job of showing off a variety of the different like environments that Outriders has to offer. This is probably the thing Outriders does best. It does the end game extremely well on launch, as compared to a lot of games in the looter shooter genre. Like, it's pretty robust. I'll show off the modern system later, which is what really makes it interesting. Oh my god, I died on tier 2. That was terrible. So yeah, we'll show off the modern system, which is what makes things really interesting. Let's abandon that because it's really loud, and I'll be back in 1 second. So pretty early into the campaign, you unlock modern, which I didn't mess with at all my first time through the campaign, which was a huge mistake because it seriously increases the power of your gear. So we'll just take this chest piece, for example. It's got pretty good stat rolls for what I'm doing. And come over to mod gear, and as you can see, there's just, I don't know exactly how many mods there is, but there's a very good variety. I haven't unlocked any tier 3 ones in this character yet, because I've barely had any legendaries. But you can do some crazy things. So have I got, yeah, I've got the Migraine SMG. So this normally comes with bombs ahead, like legendary perk. But I took the ultimate bleeding bullets legendary perk off another weapon. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. So now I've got essentially 2 legendaries in one gun, which is pretty cool and exciting. You can also level up gear if you find a nice roll. I did that with, I think it was these robes, and improved the rarity. You can't improve to legendary, which I kind of wish you could. But that's neither here nor there. On weapons also, we've got a lot more mods, but what I want to show off is you can change the variant of your weapon. So this can either be like a sort of like M1 Grand sort of style rifle, where you just fire off your 8 bullets and then you're done, or you can have it be sort of like a one-shot, making it more like a sniper. If you come over a sort of like assault rifle, I don't think you can't do it on legendaries. Assault rifles, I've modded this. Whoopsie daisy, that's a mod. I changed this one to be a standard variant, as it came as a sharpshooter, which is like a single shot, and I wasn't a massive fan of it. There's also bursting. You can do this on any weapon that isn't legendary, which is a pretty nice little touch. So that's sort of the end game of Outriders. You mod your gear as best you can. There's legendary sets, which haven't got into too much, but I've seen a lot about. They look pretty interesting. A lot of the legendary weapons are quite interesting. They're just very rare, so I can't have a full opinion on them yet. Yeah, so you mod your gear, you go up your challenge tiers, and the end ones are brutally difficult unless you've got like insane gear. I've seen a few like just cakewalks of tier 15s, but I'm nowhere near that point yet because I'm not very good. But yeah, so we'll get into final thoughts and whether or not I recommend Outriders. Would I recommend this game for you? And it's really going to depend on the type of player you are, the answer to that question. If you love grinding strikes in Destiny, if you love grinding perfect rolls in Borderlands, perfect parts, perfect elements, if you love min-maxing in Diablo, then yeah, this game is probably going to keep you entertained for quite a while. Like, it's going to keep myself entertained. Just be wary of those server issues. For anyone else, I would probably wait until there's a sale on the game. Like I say, the campaign, there's interesting parts, but overall it's sort of a waste of time. And if you're not going to get too deep into the end game, I would probably hold off or just watch a Let's Play or something. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Outriders. Get it on a sale if you don't love grinding gear. Buy it if you do, and you can forgive the server issues. So thank you everyone very much for watching. I'll leave my Twitch in the description. Like, subscribe, all that bullshit, and have a good rest of your day. So we'll keep this relatively spoiler-free. There'll be some very light spoilers, but I won't tell you which characters die or anything like that. Shira, why are you talking? Oh my goodness. So when the game opens up, I'm going to have to turn down the dialogue because that is ruined.